Stronger together. Stronger, stronger together.
Okay, hey, we're back. Now, Ireland is an island in the North Atlantic, and it's not that big. So this morning, we are in Dublin, but we are departing on the Celtic Rider, we've named it, and we are going over to LIsdoonvarna, and that's where the outing, the festival, the outing, is going to be going on today, tomorrow, and then on Sunday. Now, the cool thing about Ireland is that you can literally drive across the entire country in under 4 or 5 hours. I've done it many, many times. In fact, you can go from Dublin up in the east all the way down to the westernmost point, which is Portmagee and the Skellig Islands. You can do that trip in 6 hours. So when you think of Ireland and you think of a country, you know, it's not like the United States where you think of this broad, you know, expanse of country. However, as we go, and if you want, I mean, one of your cameras can look outside, it is possibly one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And once you get out of Dublin, we're going to see rolling hills, green sheep, the cottages with the smoke coming out. I mean, just stuff from your fairy tales. It exists here in Ireland. The bus is filled with journalists from around the country, around the world, from all different sorts of LGBT publications, and they've all come in to cover the outing. And it's really interesting to hear the different people from around the world talking about our issues. When you get out of your country and you watch the news, you get a totally different perspective on yourself. And these people here already have that perspective on us. So it's a pretty interesting, I would say, awakening. And as today, I know that you're going to be seeing this later, but today I awoke to a shooting, another mass shooting. This one, I believe, in Oregon. Was it Oregon? Oregon, yeah, this one in Oregon. See, I can't even keep track, you know, of which state. 10 people dead, something like 17 injured. And what really struck me this morning was in the news here, you know, all it said, and they kept repeating, was, despite mass shootings, America ignores gun control. And that just really got to me, because it appears we appear ignorant. It appears that we know there's a very real problem, and we won't fix it. And our bus has Wi-Fi, so look at the headline. Oregon gunmen. That's what the world gets to wake up to. Oregon gunmen. Great. Even over here, Oregon gunmen. 5,000 miles away. That's something. Oh, and Russia airstrikes in Syria. Great. You know what? Great. You know what it makes me want to do? Turn the news over and look out the window.
Engaged a company from England, from one of the universities in England, from Huddersfield University, and they were specialists in cave environment. So they came over here, we went down the old way, crawled through all the passageways, brought all the gear in there, set it up inside, monitored the cave for 2 years, and then we applied for planning.
Did you do the crawling through the whole thing?
I did a lot of crawling because I was a caver when I was a lot younger and fitter, you know.
Is it true if you touch a stalactite, you kill it?
No, but you do interfere with it because there's a little bit of oil in our hands, our bodies, and wherever you touch it, like, it'll cause a little bit of damage, but not great. But over time, like, it wouldn't be good for the thing. This is limestone rock you see in front of you there, all those benches. And the history of limestone rock is, it started out in the seas something like 350 million years ago. Now, the Burn is one of the few places that you'll get the limestone actually very much exposed. And something else happens in that limestone as well. Caves occur. And the caves occur because there were overhead rivers, and they found little weaknesses in the rock and began to seep down through the rock, the water is basically making its way to the ocean. Now we'll just let the folks. You want to come up, folks?
You're going to have fun down there with that. I'm sure. Tell me how many steps?
125.
You're right.
Yes.
I counted.
I've counted them too.
I suppose that's one way.
That's one way. Yes.
So 250.
Yes. But it's easier going down than coming up. But the secret coming up is take your time.
We're entering the Doolan Cave. Remember, damp stairs, don't die. I need you to, okay? So don't die. Pay attention. Holy crap. Do these stairs count as the 125, I hope?
We've been walking for 20 minutes.
Yeah. There's light up there, but it'll take a half hour for you to get there. No, I'm just kidding. You're almost back. They're emerging from the depths. Welcome back to planet Earth.
Lights, camera, action.
That's right. I want it documented if I'm not coming back. I'm telling you right now. You can't have anything nice. Now, a lot of the people coming up the stairs are a little older than me. So if this is hard for me, I'm hitting the gym when I get back home. I'm gonna die. So there's 10 steps per flight, so 12 flights. That's 12 stories. Make sure you're nice and clean. Do y'all feel it's getting colder as we go down?
Okay.
Oh, we get to be the village people. Wear helmets and hard hats. Grab a helmet, everybody.
So the job took a long time to do. So from where we started, when we came in the little gate at the top, to where we finished today, took a year and a half to do.
How far below the earth are we?
We're at this point, we're just 80 foot from the surface.
What's that in meters?
And that's what's
About 27 meters.
27 meters, yeah.
Cavers have to be little tiny people, don't they? Oh my goodness. Good afternoon. Morning, whatever it is. We're in a cave, all time stuff.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Like
Are you going home?
interstellar time relatively.
Getting shorter and shorter. Oh, see, good thing you had a helmet. Oh,
So that's one good thing. We had to
oh yeah, Batman. This is like where Batman would live.
to make sure there were no signs.
To the Bat Cave. Well, there's no bats really. It's too damp. Watch your head.
Very good.
Nice. Really?
Any lights you have, just cover them up for the moment because we just want to bring the place into as much darkness as we can.
And then someone's going to scream, and the lights are going to come on, and one of us is going to be missing. Oh, see.
We have everybody. I hope.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Now,
Just kill me now.
1952, the two young men crawled into this cave. Their description that day was their lights weren't very good, but they began to notice something very strange in here. The description on the day is they whispered to each other because they were afraid their voices might actually knock it off the ceiling. Wow. There's no difference. Now it's the third largest in the world.
Third.
But it's the only one you're ever going to see because the other two there's one in South America and there's one in somewhere in Asia. And they're deep underground and it takes days to get there. We got funding for the building a little bit, but all the rest of it was done from our own. We sought land and houses and all sorts of stuff to get this going, you know. And it took years.
So it was really your dream to open this up?
It was, yeah. Yeah, because I came in here when I was a young lad with the British cavers because they taught us how to cave. We used to chase them around the place and they bring us down into caves and into crazy places too. And Paul Nagullum up in the Burn, up outside LIsdoonvarna. Yes. Does that ring any bell?
Gollum, the Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. Because Tolkien used to spend a lot of his time in the Burn way back. And I reckon he has a lot of his inspiration for Lord of the Rings and
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the other books are from the Burn, you know.
If you were Gollum, I mean, you'd live right up there.
I live up there,
Yeah. It's a great place to be
So we're
Gollum.
hoping to get him back. He might become a tour guide.
Yeah. My precious.
So we'll just make our way down. So this is all the new calcite. All this side is flowing along there.
It looks like something from the movie Alien.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's the
When you
biggest.
first saw it, what did you think?
Oh, I think on my second trip I kind of realised I went away because I was kind of scared in here.
So it wasn't just sort of remains of dead. There were people actually living.
Oh yeah. They have found they have found where a few people died and were probably buried in there.
They're called Republicans, people who live in caves.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I found my two best friends in Ireland. Here they are. These two, I love them. I want to take them home. Hi. Oh, you love me too. I know. Yes, you do. We are at a house that's made famous by a TV show called Father Ted. Quite popular in the UK and Ireland. I'm sure available on streaming. It's a rather old show. However, the couple that bought this house let them use it to film, and now the couple is almost a prisoner in their house because over there, if you can pan over to the gate, people come here to take photos. So on the weekends, they allow people to come in by appointment and have tea and cakes that they make with the people that actually live here. The wife is from Manhattan, the husband is Irish. He wanted to organically farm, and this is where he's doing it. We're gonna go inside. The real owner has been baking cakes all day for us, so we're gonna go in and have some tea and cakes. But if you look around, this is such typical Ireland. This is what Ireland in the West looks like. We are in the West. We are about as far away from Dublin as we could possibly be. It's different climate. It's different views. And it's a lot of fun. So we're going to go and have tea and cakes, aren't we? You don't get any cakes. No cakes for you, okay? We're out of tea. The Lord hates me. He knows I'm an atheist. And then sugar, of course. Do you know that Ireland is the #2 tea drinker in the world?
Believe it?
I think I'm #1.
Everybody drinks tea.
Yeah.
I did do a pot of coffee just in case.
Did you bake all of this?
I did, me and my daughter.
Thank you so very much.
Enjoy
Thank you. What's your name again?
My name is Cheryl,
And Cheryl, you're from Manhattan?
originally.
Originally from Manhattan. And how long have you lived here in Ireland?
Going on 29 years.
Has anyone ever climbed the fence and tried to come in to like take a picture or something?
Oh God, they don't climb the fence. They only open the gate and walk in. They don't-
Well, so much for those two guard dogs out there.
Yeah, no,
They're not doing their job.
No, they definitely don't work though.
Now let me ask you then. I mean, the question, but I mean, I look around and I see the obvious answer, but why don't you move?
Why would I move?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you move? But-
Yeah.
Well, because every day you're on display.
Yeah. Oh no, I would just eventually get electric gates and maybe put trees in front or something like that.
And your husband's an organic farmer?
Yes, yeah.
And is his farm is right here behind?
Yeah, just all behind us there. Yeah.
And do you use the produce here, or does he sell it to local restaurants? Or?
Well, we sell to Eli's up in Dublin, take some of our lamb, and then we also, just friends, neighbours, people like that.
Do you think living in Manhattan made this easier for you?
Do I think living in Manhattan made that easier for me? Well, I had a great life in New York, you know.
But it's, you know, it's
When-
crowded, there's lots of people always.
Yeah, but
and-
when you're young, you know, and then I think this area or country living is fantastic when you're ready to raise children. I mean, the amount of space my children had out, you know, like you don't have to
Are they
entertain
grown now,
them.
your kids? They're grown?
Yeah, I have 3 children in New York now.
Ah, so they went to New York.
Yeah, just with the recession they went back. You know,
How
and
did
then
they
I had
deal
to-
with that growing up? Did they?
Well, that wouldn't be like when I came here, or they knew no different. And say when I came here, I used to think, oh my God, it's so dark, you know, because you're used to lights. But I mean, you adjust. Like now, when I go home, I'm like, oh my God, how did I sleep there? You know.
Where do
It's,
you shop?
Where do I shop?
Yeah.
Food shop.
Yeah.
Well, I would either go to Currafin.
Is that far?
It's about 5 miles from here. Gort is
My
about
God, you said miles.
12, 12 miles. And then Kilfenor is about 10. So that would be my shop. And once in a while into Ennis, but I would prefer not to.
And for entertainment, like, do you just entertain at home or do you go?
Well, yeah, we have loads of friends, you know, if
Right,
we're
right.
going out, we go out to dinner for a drink or whatever. Or else you'd have people over.
Right.
You know, I mean.
I'm so into like theater and films and things. I can't
Well,
imagine.
my daughter's written 2 plays and they've been
Really?
up in Dublin, yeah.
They've been up in Dublin.
Yeah, in Smock Alley Theatre, so we're not short of entertainment here.
Wow! Congratulations!
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations!
You know,
Wow!
so I don't
We have a lovely home on the inside.
I guess to you it seems very rural,
Yes.
you know, but I mean, especially the Burn area, there's
Yeah.
always so much art happening between art exhibits, plays, music.
Oh,
you know.
so lots of culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of culture, probably more than you could imagine.
Yeah.
You
That's
know.
very cool.
So anyway, when the Father Ted crew here, they just use the lower half of the house. They never use upstairs. If it's a bedroom scene, they only ask me to turn on the light, and they take the shot from outside. So it's just the lower half of the house. So in the kitchen, which is across the way, you can have a look, is a scene where Sister Sumter gets caught eating a hamper of chocolates, and they're all smothered all over her face. That's in the kitchen. And then it's a lot of window shots. So the window in the kitchen is another scene where Sister Sumter is pulling Ted and Dougal on the tractor during Lent. So that's the kitchen. In the hallway, what they used to do in the hallway was they just used to put up big frames of wallpaper and lean them against the wall. Paint the front door a bit grayer so it looked older. It was an older door at the time. It was the door that went with the house. The house is over 200 years old. So we have a new door, just it was too drafty after a while. The 2 panes of glass at the front door, they just put up like a plastic film, which they peel off at the end of the week. So it looks like stained glass windows, but it's just plastic.
Did you all stay here while they were filming, like
We
upstairs?
did, yeah. They used to come out, they used to start at 5 in the morning setting up, and then they'd leave whenever they were done for the day. So it really wasn't, it was only a week, so it wasn't like huge interruption, like, to be honest. And then in this room here, they use it for about 6 different episodes. They use it for kicking Bishop Brennan up the ass. It's just in that corner right there. So anything they draw on, paint on, change, you sign contracts, so everything goes back to the original state. And then it's a lot of window shots in here. So that window there is the scene where Ted says he's not a racist and the Chinese are coming up. The mustache is there. You're more than welcome to enact
You
it.
knew the episode.
You know?
Yeah.
There's another scene in that window where Jack jumps out the window when he's getting his toenails cut. So if they're going through the whole window, what they do is they remove that window, they make a whole new frame, and where the glass is, they put in sugar glass, so that when they go through it, it just shatters and looks like glass, but it's not glass at all, it's only sugar glass. This window here then is a scene where Mrs. Doyle wins the poetry contest, and Owen McLove is in the house, and all the old women, all the zombie women are trying to come in to see him. Into the window. Yeah.
They were all local women.
They were all local window. Yeah. Most of all the extras are.
Were any local people actually used as extras in the?
All of them. Mostly all the extras are local. So yeah, my daughter who's bringing the tea in now, she was the baby in the Christmas special. She was 2 weeks old when I came to, when they came back for the Christmas special, and Graham came in and he was like, Cheryl, can I borrow the baby? And you never knew what they were going to ask for. So I was like, oh my God, and it's his daughter, like you can't imagine what they were going to do.
When you would see the episodes completed,
Yes.
did it like shock or amaze you? Like, wow, you know, it's like.
I guess in the beginning, you're thinking, but you know what, when you watch it, there's so much happening that you don't even think, oh my God, that's my window, that's my door, you're just watching it because it's so funny. So I think, and even now when I meet people, like the last thing I say is I live in Father Ted's house because it's so iconic, it's so famous. Like Mrs. Doyle was back after 17 years. We were doing something for the Yes Vote for equality here. And since it's such an iconic house, we went on board with it just because we believe in it. Yeah.
Quality.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It is the Karel Cast. I am Karel, so very glad you are joining me. I am coming to you live from the west of Ireland in LIsdoonvarna, where they're doing a matchmaking festival, as you know. We got into Dublin on Thursday, and we made the trek across the island to the west to LIsdoonvarna, where we are now. That's why I wasn't with you yesterday. I was en route. We're going to have a lot of great interviews for you. We're going to be talking to a lot of people and going a lot of places. We're also starting Karel Life in Segments Season 2. That's right, Brandon's here with me and Steve has come along, and so we're starting that in Ireland. Now, as you all know, and if you're new to the show, then you don't know, but as you all know, when I come to the other countries, I like to look at how they're looking at us. And this morning, I awoke, quite frankly, to something that's oh so common for us, but it appears not so common for the rest of the world. As you know by now, there has been another mass shooting. 10 people dead, many more injured, at a junior college where, young people are. And it's a horrific, horrific crime. And I woke up this morning, and on the news, I turned on RTE, which is the state television here, and then RT, which is Russian television. As I turned it on, the bottom is what got me. It just stuck me in the heart. It said, another mass shooting as Americans fail to control guns. And I just thought, oh my God, that's how they see these. I read in the papers this morning and online, in yet an all too familiar scene, all of the media now is reporting like it's just commonplace, in yet an all too common scene, or yet again, and we have become completely and totally numb. But people, we have to wonder at some point, because when you look at it from the other side, when you're in another country and you stare back, you look at how really stupid we look. And quite frankly, on the matter of guns, we look absolutely ridiculous. 31% of all gun violence, 31% comes from the United States of America, of which there are only 315 million people out of the 8 billion on the planet. Now, when you look at that number, are we proud of that? Are we happy about that? Is that something we should, oh, look, we have more gun violence? No. But do we do anything about it? No. It's just another news story. 10 more families that have to buy 10 more burial plots, hundreds of relatives that are now missing these vital young people who were, not that it matters what age, but these vital young people who were just starting out in life. And as we become numb to this violence, and this is why I want to talk to you about this, as we lose our sense of outrage and indignation, which is really what's happening, we don't get mad at anything anymore. And we're going to get to the Donald Trump fiasco and how it's playing over here and all the other things. But as we lose our sense of outrage over these killings, it's amazing to see how other countries deal with their outrage. For instance, I'm holding up an Irish Examiner right now. On the cover, it says, Catastrophic Impact of Gang Raid. And it's a story about these 7 young men, one of them really hot, unfortunately, and they committed a really terrible crime. Now, when I read the story, I didn't know what had really happened because it said the events shocked and scarred an entire nation. The severity of the crimes were so that the entire country was floored. Now, this is directly from the Irish Examiner. Now, what did these people do? They did a home invasion. They did a home invasion with a gun. They didn't kill anybody, okay? They didn't murder anybody. They did a home invasion with a gun. They put the kids in a closet, something like that. They, forced the wife away from the husband. They kept saying they were going to kill everybody. They beat the husband. They hit him with the gun. Basically, your basic home invasion robbery if you're, in Los Angeles, San Francisco, wherever. If you heard about 7 people breaking into someone's house, beating them up, not killing them, and then going on their way, how much outrage would you have? And I am being so serious here. Oh, you might say, oh, that's too bad, or oh, that's horrible. Would you be outraged? No. In Ireland, catastrophic impact. Catastrophic. They felt this crime so severely that these guys were going to jail for a total of 72 years, all of them. So it's like 12 years each person. There are people in the United States of America who use a gun to commit a crime, and during the course of that crime, or they commit manslaughter, and let's just go there. There are people who rape people in our country and do not go to jail for as long as these people are going to jail. I mean, we're talking rape, we're talking manslaughter, and in our country, 2 years, 5 years, pleaded out to this, pleaded out to that. In Ireland, they're going to jail for 12 years, and they didn't even kill anybody. They talk about the children of the family here, 3 daughters emotionally scarred, a horrific and violent attack that shocked a nation. What do you suppose it takes to shock us nowadays? I mean, think about that. We're here with a whole bunch of journalists, a whole bunch of media, and of course we're talking on the bus and the like. What does it take to shock an American nowadays? Because think about it. Think about what we see in our news every single day and how it's just part of the fodder. It's just part of the news cycle. 10 students dead. And it could be more. I haven't checked the news, spotty Wi-Fi in the West. But 10 people, 10 kids. Could be your kid. Could be your friend's kid. And we always think it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, never going to happen, until it happens in your town. And then it happens. Now, you would have thought with Sandy Hook that a nation would have been shocked. You would have thought with 20 plus dead children who were shot with a gun that ripped their bodies apart. In Sandy Hook, the pictures that they will never let you see are of 3rd graders whose arm is on the other side of the room, or half of their head is actually gone. Now that happened, and that happened to our children, the children of America. And what did we do? Well, we heard from the NRA how if the teachers had been armed, it wouldn't have happened. We heard from politicians how now is not the time to talk about gun control. The mood towards America has completely changed from the last time I was here. They look at us as sad. They said this morning that the era of American greatness, or American exceptionalism, they called it, is over. They said further evidence that the era of American exceptionalism is over is this. And this ain't the tabloid. This is the BBC. This is RTE. 40 plus million of you will leave the country. When I say leave, I mean off the actual continent. Not Canada, not Mexico, but actually leave the country. About 40 plus million out of the 315 million Americans. And that fact alone is why we have such myopic vision. It's why we don't see what's right in front of us. And what's right in front of us is we're not such a great nation anymore. And we are a lazy people. We are a lazy people that when we see a hard job in front of us, we don't want to do it. We simply don't want to do it. We look at gun control in our country, for instance, and we say, well, that's just too big of a problem, Karel. There's more guns in America than there are Americans. In fact, if you do the math, it's something like 4 guns for every American, or maybe even more. And we think, well, how could we stop that? How could we end that? Let's talk about Australia. In Australia, when they had the largest public massacre, which, by the way, I think America thinks it's a competition. I think it's like the Olympics of mass killings, and we're now hoping to have a 39 plus, because they had 39 in Australia. We can beat them by 1 at least. Come on, there must be a maniac out there somewhere. I think that's how it is now. In Australia, as you know, after they had the 39 people killed, they immediately changed their gun laws. Immediately. Within 6 months, their gun laws were changed. Now, Australia's a pretty large country. They have, people, a population. They have a rural population. You would think it'd be really hard because there's people way out in God knows where. Nope. And since they did this, how many mass shootings have they had? Hello, 0. Karel Life in Segments, The Outing, has been partially sponsored by Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. Available through the Progressive Voices app or tune in. Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on.